Students, let's do Brahmanath. Om. Om. Santi, Santi, Santi. Swasth.
Good morning students, welcome back to class again. Today we are going to start again with your topic, that is your cell structure and function. Today we will discuss about one of your cell organelle, that is your mitochondria, which is also known as your powerhouse of cell. Before going to today's topic, let us discuss what we have discussed in the previous class. In previous classes we have studied about the endomembrane system. Yes, what is endomembrane? Endomembrane is the unit, or it is the collection of membranes that function as a unit, that their function is a single function. Mainly it includes your endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi body, lysosome and vacuole. In previous class we have discussed about the Golgi body, lysosome and vacuole. Golgi body, it contains the cis phase and trans phase. In cis phase, which contains the transport vesicles which are collected from your endoplasmic reticulum by the small vesicles, they are transported through the Golgi body, and as secretory vesicles they are went out to the lysosome and vesicles. Then these lysosomes are known as your suicidal bag, because it contains the most of the hydrolytic enzymes and it digests the most of your protein and waste materials of your cell, and those cell organelles which have no function, they are also digested inside your lysosome. That's why it is known as your suicidal bag. And the lysosome shows polymorphism, we have already discussed, because the lysosome is present in four forms. That is, one is your primary lysosome, second one is your secondary lysosome or heterophagosome, third one is your residual body or tertiary lysosome, and fourth one is your autolysosome. Due to this presence of four types of lysosome or four morphological stages, lysosome shows the polymorphism. And last one we have discussed about the vacuole. Several types of vacuoles are present there, but in plants we can find the sap vacuoles are present, which are more in case of mature plants and less in case of young plants. Or vacuole, it stores the most of your food and wastage are stored in the vacuoles. Okay, today we will start the mitochondria, which is your one of your cell organelle, and it is known as your powerhouse of cell. Powerhouse of cell. Okay, first it is discovered by Altman and Kolliker in 1880, and the name mitochondria was given by C. Delta in 1897. As you already know, animals show more activity, but plants show, as they rest in position, they show less activity. That's why you can find more number of mitochondria present in case of animal cell. That is, in animal cell you will find more mitochondria. In number. Why more mitochondria is present? Yes, they are doing more metabolic activity. That's why they are having more mitochondria number, because they are having more metabolic activity. But as compared with the plant cells, they are having the less mitochondria cell. In plant cell we have less mitochondria cell. Okay, but in prokaryote cell, these are not present in all the cells, these are absent in prokaryotic cells. In prokaryotic cells, mitochondria is absent. In prokaryotic cell, mitochondria is absent. Okay. Then we will discuss about some shape and size of the mitochondria. Shape and size. How the mitochondria structure look like? Usually, the mitochondria are cylindrical or tubular in structure. And their size ranges from 10 micrometer and 0.5 micrometer. Okay. That is about 5 to 10. Size means their length. Okay. Size means their length. They are usually cylindrical or tubular in structure, and the length is around 5 to 10 micrometer and their diameter is around 0.5 micrometer. Okay, note down these points. Then we will discuss about the basic structural organization of mitochondria. Let us draw the basic structure of mitochondria. Then we will discuss about several structural aspects of mitochondria. Let us draw the structure of mitochondria. This is already we have. I told that it is tubular or cylindrical in structure. Okay. Then it is having two membranes, one outer membrane and one inner membrane. Outer membrane is smooth, but inner membrane is slightly tubular or it shows crystal-like structure. Okay. Here you can see this is the structure of your mitochondria. This is the structure of mitochondria. Structure of. Always write the name of the structure below your structure. Okay. It is having two membranes. That is, one is known as your outer membrane, and this folding like structure, it is known as your inner membrane. It is known as inner membrane. And in between two membranes, you can see the space is present, and this space is known as your perimitochondrial space. It is known as perimitochondrial space, or it is also called as your outer chamber. It is also known as your outer chamber. Okay, you can write these points as mitochondria. It is having two membrane. It is having two membrane. One is your outer membrane and second one is your inner membrane. Here you can see the outer membrane is very smooth, but inner membrane is folded, or it is folded inward. That is, outer membrane is smooth, but inner membrane it is folded. It is folded inward. Okay, this folding of the inner membrane, it is known as your cristae. The inward folding of inner membrane is known as, what is it called? It is known as your cristae. Okay, CRISTAE. That is known as your cristae. And each membrane is around 60 to 75 Armstrong thick. That is the thickness of your outer membrane and inner membrane. That is around 60 to 75 Armstrong. Outer membrane is 60 to 75 Armstrong, and inner membrane also 60 to 75 angstrom thickness. That is the thickness of membrane. The thickness of two membrane. Thickness of two membrane. What is that? That is around 60 to 75 angstrom. 60 to 75 angstrom. And one point, the perimitochondrial space. What is that? It is the space in between the outer membrane and inner membrane. The space between the outer membrane and inner membrane is called as, what is that? That is your outer chamber or perimitochondrial space. Is called as perimitochondrial space or outer chamber. Okay, note down these points, then we will discuss about some few more points about the structural organization of mitochondria. Okay, you can see there is a space present inside your inner membrane, and we call the inner membrane as your cristae, and the space which is present inside the inner membrane, that is known as your matrix. What it is called? Matrix. The space inside your inner membrane is known as your matrix. Okay, you can write down these points. The space present inside inner membrane is called as matrix. Okay, as it is a fluid-like structure, it contains most of your proteins, DNA, RNA and enzymes which are present inside your matrix. You can find most of your DNA. Okay, it is the nuclear DNA. It is mitochondria having its own DNA. It is known as DNA. Then some RNA molecules are also present. Some RNA. Then some proteins. Proteins and enzymes. Okay. The matrix having its own DNA, RNA, protein and also some enzymes Along with that, they are having some tennis racket like structures that are known as your oxysomes or respiratory particles. These are known as your oxysomes. These are known as oxysome or respiratory particles. Inside inside your perimitochondrial space, they are having some enzymes. What is the main function of enzyme? They act as a biocatalyst. Inside outer chamber, there is presence of some enzymes. Okay. What is the main function of enzyme? That act as a biocatalyst. As you know, bio means living and catalyst. What is the function of catalyst? Usually the catalyst that is present in a reaction, they speed up the reaction. The main function of the enzymes which are present in the outer chamber is to speed up the reaction inside your outer chamber. Okay. Note down these points, then we will discuss about the oxysome and its main function. Note down these points. Separately with the oxysome. or we called it as your respiratory particles. What is these particles and what are main function of this oxygen inside your cells? Okay, note on that point, that is the inner membrane having small tennis like structure, small tennis racket like structures which are called as what are they called? You can see here the diagram. You can see small tennis racket. You have seen the tennis racket, how it is looking. It is like that. The cristae, the inward folding of cristae, all around these cristae you can find the tennis racket like structures. I have only drawn these structures to represent this structure. That is known as your respiratory particles or oxygen, or we called it as elementary particles, and another name of that is H0 F1 particle. Okay, it can come as your short question, which are called as your respiratory particles, or oxygen or elementary particles, or what is that as F1 F0 particles. Okay, we can draw the diagram of that. Here this is known as your, okay, this structure, it is present inside your cristae. This structure is known as the upper portion is known as your headpiece, then this is stalk, and this is known as your base piece. Okay, then the headpiece is known as your F1 and the base piece is known as your F0, and the headpiece is around 100 angstrom and the base piece is around 115 angstrom. Stalk is around 33 angstrom and the base piece, the length is around 115 angstrom and the diameter is around 45 angstrom. Okay, these F1 F0 particles will help in the ATP synthesis. What is the function of F1 particle? These F0 F0 particle, or we call it as oxygen, contains enzyme for ATP synthesis. What they contain? Oxygen. Yes, they contain the enzyme for ATP synthesis. In which process? That process is known as your oxidative phosphorylation. In the process of oxidative phosphorylation that takes place inside your F1 F0 particle, they helps in the, or they contains the enzyme for the production of ATP synthesis. Okay, oxidative means in presence of oxygen. In oxidative means, here oxidative means in presence of oxygen. What will they produce? ATP. From which they produce ATP? That is, they will produce the ATP from ADP plus inorganic phosphate. They will give rise to ATP. In presence of oxygen, the glucose molecule or the foodstuffs we are eating that will produce the ATP in the process of oxidative phosphorylation in the presence of oxygen in plant cell and also animal cell. Okay, note down these points, then we will discuss about the function of mitochondria. Okay, let us now discuss about some important functions of mitochondria, how it is helping our cell in functioning of important function. That you know that prokaryotic cell having no mitochondria, but how they are performing or how they are getting the energy. In eukaryotic cell you have the mitochondria, you are getting ATP from the mitochondria, but in prokaryotic cell you have one structure that is known as the mesosome, which is the infolding of plasma membrane. We have discussed earlier that mesosome usually helps in the ATP synthesis process and it gives energy to the living prokaryotic cell. Here, like that, in case of eukaryotic cell, you have mitochondria, where though its main function is cellular respiration and ATP synthesis. Okay, what do you mean by cellular respiration? As you know, we are taking the foodstuffs, but how these are getting energy, how it is providing energy to us. That is, when in presence of oxygen, they get glucose. In presence of oxygen, that is, they are degrading the complex molecules into simple molecules. Which are degrading? That is the oxygens. In the inside oxygen, there is presence of several enzymes, as we have earlier discussed in the structure. That oxygen contains the enzyme which usually degrade the complex molecules into simple molecules and providing ATP to our cell. That oxygen usually contains the oxygen and it converts the foodstuffs or it will provide ATP, and the carbon dioxide and water will be released outside. Carbon dioxide plus water are the byproduct, but it is different from photosynthesis. As we all know, photosynthesis is a process by which plant produce their food. In that process, carbon dioxide and water is utilized, but here in respiration, carbon dioxide and water it is released to the outer environment, or it is the byproduct, and the ATP is the energy form, which is the main form of the cellular respiration that is occurring inside our cell in the mitochondria. In mitochondria, you have seen there are two processes. One is your Krebs cycle, or we call it as your citric acid cycle. It occurs inside your matrix of mitochondria. And second one is your electron transport system, or we call it as ETS, electron transport system, that occurs inside your oxygen. We have already discussed. It occurs in inner membrane, that is oxygen, that is inside your F1 and F0 particle, inner membrane of mitochondria. And important function of mitochondria is that they help in cytoplasmic inheritance. Important function is that cytoplasmic inheritance. What is that? In case of mitosis, you can see from mother cell, the nucleus which contains the DNA or the character is transferred to the daughter cell. Like that, the mitochondria of your mother cell is transferred to the daughter cell. That process of inheritance means transfer of character from mother to the parents. And the cytoplasmic inheritance is that mitochondria is inherited from the parent cell to the daughter cell. That's why they are also helped in the cytoplasmic inheritance. Cytoplasmic inheritance means transfer of mitochondria from parent cell to daughter cell. Okay, note down these points, then we will discuss about few more functions. Another important function is that mitochondria shows apoptosis, that is called as programmed cell death. What is that called? That is known as your programmed cell death. Then next function is mitochondria. It is present in middle part of sperm. In case of human, we have seen that the 8% contains the acrosome or the vesicle-like structure we have discussed in Golgi body, and the middle part of the sperm contains the mitochondria. Then next point, it also helps in transport of calcium. Transport of calcium inside your cells, and it also take part in different cellular metabolism. Okay. What is cellular metabolism? That it contains the DNA, as we have know that it contains the protein, different enzymes, that different catabolic and anabolic activity which occurred inside your mitochondria. Okay. Then another important function is that in animal cell, they cause beta oxidation of fatty acid. Okay, these are some important functions that the mitochondria is performing. The main important function is that it produces the ATP, which is the main important. That's why it is called as a powerhouse of the cell. Note down this point. Okay, let us discuss about autonomy in mitochondria. What do you mean by autonomy? That is, they are semi-autonomous. Some cell organelles inside your cell, they are capable of having their own function. Inside that, they can produce the protein, they can produce the RNA, then they can produce their enzymes. That's why they are known as your semi-autonomous organelles. Semi means they can perform some functions independently, but for other functions they will dependent from for the other cell organelles. Like that, your mitochondria and chloroplast are included inside your semi-autonomous organelle. As this function, then mitochondria it is called as semi-autonomous organelle. Semi-autonomous. Why semi-autonomous? Because they can perform their some functions like production of protein, production of RNA by their own. That's why they are known as semi-autonomous. But we cannot call ribosome or Golgi body as semi-autonomous organelle because they don't have any DNA or RNA or protein inside them. Then why this? Because they are having the self duplication power. Why they are having the self duplication power? Because they having the genetic material that is your DNA, and they are having the RNA, protein. They are having RNA, protein making machinery. They can capable of making their own membrane. And production of enzymes. Okay, these are some important points. That is, they are having their own genetic material. We have seen the DNA structure inside your structure. Then they are having the RNA, protein. Then from the DNA they can produce the RNA. From the RNA they are having the ribosomes. We have already discussed. They are having the 70S type of ribosome. What is that? They are having 70S ribosomes. which are present inside your mitochondria. These are helping in the formation of protein and making the membrane. That's why they are known as your semi-autonomous organelle, and they are having the self-duplication power. That's why they are having the cytoplasmic inheritance ability. We have discussed in function. Then, due to this presence of these organelles and the DNA protein, they are capable of producing around 30% of protein of the cell. Around, it can produce 30% of protein required by cell, but rest protein are produced by nuclear DNA. Okay. Only 30% of protein is produced by the mitochondria, and the rest 70% that is produced by your nucleus that contains the DNA. Okay. Note down these points. Then we will discuss about the cell organelle, that is your ribosome. Note down these points. Okay. Now let us discuss about the ribosome, which is also known as your protein factory of cell. But mitochondria, it is known as your powerhouse of the cell. That is, most of the protein which are needed by your cell, it is made inside your ribosome. That is, ribosome, it is first discovered by Palade. Who discovered the ribosome? It is discovered by Palade in 1955. Discovered the ribosome, and it is the smallest cell organelle of your cell. It is known as your smallest cell organelle, and it is known as the smallest cell organelle. Among cell organelle, it is the smallest one, and it is having no membrane. It is having no membrane, and it is separated by the process of centrifugation, that is your ultracentrifugation process, by last. It is separated in last by ultracentrifugation method. As the size of the ribosome is very small, that is, they are having the no membrane and they are the smallest cell organelle. What do you mean by centrifugation? Centrifugation is the process by which we are separate the molecules based on their size. Then ultracentrifugation means we can separate the molecules at higher speed. That's why I write that the cell organelle, that is the ribosome, it is separated last by ultracentrifugation method, as these are having the smallest size and they are having the no membrane. But these ribosomes, it is present in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. It is present both in prokaryotic cell and also eukaryotic cell. This is the only cell organelle you can find both in prokaryote as well as eukaryotes. In prokaryotic cell, it is lie free in cytoplasm. But in eukaryotic cell, it is present free in cytoplasm, and also it is present along with your endoplasmic reticulum. We have earlier discussed that endoplasmic reticulum having the ribosome. It is present in endoplasmic reticulum. That is your area of endoplasmic reticulum. You can find the ribosomes which are attached to the surface of endoplasmic reticulum, that are known as your raw endoplasmic reticulum, and the ribosome which are not attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, that are called as your smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. Then next, it can also present in mitochondria, present in mitochondria and chloroplast. Present in mitochondria and chloroplast. Okay. As mitochondria and chloroplast are already we have discussed that mitochondria is a semi-autonomous organelle. That's why ribosome is present in the mitochondria and chloroplast also. Okay. Note down these points. Then we will discuss the types of ribosome based on their centrifugation. How these ribosomes are different in case of prokaryotic cell and in eukaryotic cell. Note down these points. The types of the ribosome, how ribosomes are classified. They are usually classified on the basis of their sedimentation coefficient. Okay, ribosomes are classified. Ribosomes are two types based on their sedimentation coefficient. Based on their sedimentation coefficient. What is here the sedimentation? It comes as we know previously that ultracentrifugation. In ultracentrifugation process, what occurs? The ribosomes comes last. That's why it sediments. That is it after the centrifugation process. Ribosomes comes last. That is known as your sedimentation coefficient. That is ultra centrifugation, or in some ultra centrifugation, ribosome sediments last. Okay, and based on their size, as they are smaller in structure, they sediment last in the ultracentrifugation process. As we compare with the prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell, we can find they also differ in their size. That appear as your basic of the sedimentation coefficient. Ribosome may be of two types. One is your 70S ribosome and 80S ribosome. 70S ribosome are mostly found in prokaryotic cell, which are freely present in the cytoplasm, and also we can find in mitochondria, chloroplast. Okay, then 80S ribosome are presently mostly in case of eukaryotes. It is present mostly in case of eukaryotic cell. Okay, then what is this S stands for? Here S stands for your Sedgwick unit. Here S stands for Sedgwick unit. Okay, which is the sedimentation coefficient unit, as we have already discussed. Okay, then this 70S ribosome, or we can say this unit of ribosome, it consists of one smaller unit and one larger unit. This 80S unit consists of a 60S unit and one 40S unit. This is the larger subunit. 60S is the larger subunit and 40S is the smaller subunit. Okay, then it consists of, each unit of ribosome consists of several ribosomal RNAs and protein. Okay, each unit of ribosome consists of ribosomal RNA, or in abbreviated form it is written as rRNA and proteins. rRNA and proteins. Like that, 60S unit, that is your larger unit of your 80S ribosome, consists of 28S rRNA, 5.8 rRNA, 5S rRNA and it consists of around 45 proteins. It consists of around 45 proteins. Like that of your 40S unit consists of 18S rRNA and 33 proteins. Okay, note down these points. Like that, 70S ribosome in prokaryotic cell consists of two units, one larger unit and one smaller unit. The larger unit of 70S ribosome is known as your 50S, that is your larger subunit, and 30S. Okay, here you can see 50 plus 30, that will be your 80S, but their size varies because of their sedimentation coefficient. 50S and 30S, it is 80S, but it is written as your 70S because their ultracentrifugation or the sedimentation coefficient is 70, then 80. Okay, then here 30S is your smaller subunit. Okay, it is having 23S rRNA, 5S rRNA, and it is also having 34 proteins. 34 proteins, and like that your 30S unit having 21S, 16S rRNA and 21 proteins. Okay, these are the basic chemical composition. What is that? Mostly chemical composition. It is the chemical composition of ribosome. Mostly it contains the ribosome and proteins. These two chemicals are present in ribosome. Note down these points, then we will discuss about the structure of ribosome. Okay, let us discuss about the structure of the ribosome. Usually we have main two components, one is your larger subunit and smaller subunit, which is the basic unit or structural unit of ribosome. That is, it is similar in structure, which is similar in structure, that is larger unit and smaller subunit, which consists of one larger unit and one smaller subunit. That is, in case of 80S ribosome, the larger one is 60S and smaller is your 40S, and in case of 70S, larger is 50S and smaller is your 30S. Suppose this is one smaller and this one larger unit and one smaller. Okay, then these ribosomes are joined by the protein or mRNA. Here you go, and this is your mRNA. During protein synthesis, the two subunits join together. Okay, here you can see one ribosome is joined by your mRNA structure, and if you find large number of ribosomes in mRNA, then this structure of the ribosome is known as your polyribosome. This is known as polyribosome, or we call it as polysome. If that polymer, if more than one ribosomes unite in mRNA to form a complex protein, then that structure is called polyribosome or polysome. Okay, this structure is known as your polyribosome or polysome. And another point is that if magnesium ion concentration is high, then what will happen if the Mg++ ion is high, then two smaller subunits, that is in case of 80S it is 40S and in case of 70S it is 30S. The two subunits will unite and they form a dimer-like structure. This dimer-like structure, it is 40S and it is 30S. In case of prokaryote it is 30S and in case of eukaryotes it is 40S structures. That is the smaller subunit. They will unite and they form, this structure is known as your dimer. Okay, if Mg+ ion concentration is high, then the smaller subunits join to form a dimer. Okay, will form a dimer-like structure. Note down these points. Then we will discuss about the function. What are the main function or how they are helping in protein synthesis. We will discuss. Okay, let's start with important functions of ribosome that they are functioning. One of the important function of the ribosome is that they are the site of protein synthesis. That's why they are known as your protein factory of the cell. That's why it is written that they are the sites of protein synthesis. They are having the ribosome and having the mRNA that is involving in the protein synthesis process. And the free ribosomes which are present in the cytoplasm, they are producing the structural and enzymatic proteins. And the ribosomes, attached ribosomes are present inside your endoplasmic reticulum, and from nucleus the mRNA will come and it combine with the ribosome and it will produce the transport proteins which will be utilized in the cells. Then next one is your different enzymes like peptide transferase which are present inside your ribosome. Okay, and it also provides or it condenses amino acid. Different amino acids are combined or united by your ribosome structure. Then by the condensation of two amino acids, they form a dipeptide. If say it is one amino acid and it is another amino acid, then two amino acids it is joined by your ribosome. As the amino acid we know, it is amino acid and these are the basic units of protein. Proteins are made up of only amino acids. Okay, these amino acids are united by your ribosome structure. How? By the using mRNA structure. Then this mRNA will join two amino acids. If two amino acid will be joined, then this is known as your dipeptide. And in case of protein structure, you have several amino acids joined together. Then that structure is known as your polypeptide. That structure is known as your polypeptide. Here that's why it is written that the enzymes of ribosomes are involved in the condensation of amino acid. Condensation means unite of two proteins or a mixing of two amino acids to form the protein. Then next one is that rRNA which is present inside your ribosome, that is in case of 80S unit and also 70S, that is presence of ribosomal RNA which mainly involves in the attachment of the mRNA and tRNA. The rRNA which is present inside ribosome helps in the attachment of mRNA. From which mRNA comes? It comes from the nucleus and it joins with the ribosome to produce the protein. Then next one is that the mRNA which will be or ribosome having a tunnel-like structure. A ribosome, suppose this is your ribosome, then it is having a space for the entry of mRNA. For that there will be production of your protein. Then last one is there, the proteins which are produced inside your cell, that are protected from your enzymes, different enzymes which are present inside cell by this larger subunit. The proteins will be stored in that. they will be remain protected from different enzymes. Okay, the proteins, last point is that the proteins remain protected which enter the larger subunit. Okay, which enter the larger subunit. This is the last point. The proteins which are formed, which it will enter into the larger subunit and it will be remain protected from degradation. Okay. Okay, today we have discussed about the important cell organelle of the cell, that is your mitochondria and ribosome. In mitochondria we have discussed about the several parts, how it is involved in ATP synthesis or how it is providing energy to us in plant and also animals. Then we have discussed in ribosome how it is involved in protein synthesis, how the smaller subunit and how larger subunit is involved in the process of protein synthesis. Okay, today by this we completed the mitochondria and ribosome. Next class we will discuss another cell organelle, that is your chloroplast. Till then, thank you.